I'm Dr. Deb Butler. You are listening to Thinner Peace and Menopause and Beyond. This is episode number 376. Welcome to Thinner Peace and Menopause and Beyond. This is Dr. Deb Butler, Master Life and Weight Coach, and as always, your coach. If you're a woman and you're smart and you're successful and you've been struggling with weight your whole life, and now menopause is making it harder than ever, and you are ready to make this the last time you ever have to go on a diet again, then this podcast is for you. Stay tuned. Well, hello, all my dear friends all over the world. It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood. How about you? The thing that I want to talk to you about today, I want to explain to you because I went away on a weekend getaway with my son and his wife and their three children, my grandchildren. And his wife, my daughter in law, who, as most of you know, who've been listening to my podcast for a long time, I really don't think of her as an in law. I think of her as my daughter. And I decided I was going to be thinking that way before I ever met her. And, whatever you think, you tend to create evidence for, and there is no difference here. She feels like a daughter to me, and I learned so much from her. And for those of you who have, since I'm older than a lot of you at this point in time, I went through menopause probably 15 years ago. That's when I created this whole thinner peace process as I was going through menopause and learning how to take better care of myself, learning how to keep the weight off for the last time, learning how to listen to my own body, and really basically learning just how to take care of myself. And what I've learned from these 15 years and what I want to impart to you today is something that my daughter has taught me, Jessica. And that is if you don't do it, nobody else will. And I want to go into this a little bit, and I want you to be thinking about yourself because I want you to see this summer as looking at it as a project on you, how to take better care of yourself and thinking that you're a priority. Because as I'm in this group that I'm doing right now, my Inner Peace in Menopause group that I started about 3 weeks ago, one of the things that I hear a lot from my students and a lot what I hear from my clients is I don't know even how to take care of myself because I've never thought that I was important enough that I even needed to think about it because I was always thinking about so many other people. So when we get into our 50s, which I know a lot of you are 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, I know you're all around there, but I'm talking about basically in this 50-year-old time where if you have kids, they're probably getting ready to leave. Some of you started a little bit later, so they're still at home, and some of you never started at all, whatever. Wherever you are, many of us as women have not been taught how to truly take care of ourselves and to make ourselves a priority. So, what I wanted to talk about today is I wanted to start with my daughter, Jessica, on what I learned from her in the last couple weeks. And then I want to bring it over to myself. And then I want to share it with how you can use what I learned from Jessica, how you can learn to use it for yourself. So a couple weeks ago, I went to the lake with Jessica and BJ, my son, and my three grandchildren. And usually when we go out, many, many times we end up going out to eat a lot. And to me, it doesn't really matter if I go out to eat or if I stay home. I always can choose whatever it is I want because I'm the one that controls what I put in my body. I've told you that many times. It doesn't matter if you're traveling or not, it's always under your control. But what I learned this time that is really helpful for me is that Jessica, like my grandchildren now are 8 and 6 and 1. And I'll tell you what, it takes a lot of thought when you're bringing children anywhere. Those of you who had children, have children, know what I'm talking about. And what I learned from her is like when we actually got to the lake house, she brought so much good food. Things that were cut up and vegetables that were cut up and ready to go, ideas for food that was quick and easy and healthy. And after a ride to actually get to the lake, I was getting pretty hungry and I'm thinking, what are we going to do? This is how I'm thinking. I'm getting really hungry. I hope we go out and get something. I'm even thinking, I don't even care if I eat a pizza. I've been there. Jessica, on the other hand, they bring up all of this food. She has put so much thought into it, and she knows she's already thought out exactly what we're going to have after this long ride. And she made these really healthy tortillas, flautas, I think she called them, that had beans and ground turkey in them. And we used almond flour tortillas that she bought that I've never had before. And I would say after we got into the house after our drive, maybe within 20 to 30 minutes, we were sitting down eating this wonderful, healthy, delicious food. And it really got me to thinking about the thought that she had to put into this in order for me to be sitting down eating this beautiful food. Because everybody was hungry, everybody was crabby, and she was prepared. And that got me thinking about myself and where I go. And it got me thinking about you and where you go and what you do and what you think. And what I learned from her, because the whole weekend was like this, there was always something good and healthy for every meal that wasn't that difficult because a lot of it was prepared ahead of time. And I was looking forward to the meals. And a lot of times when I travel too, I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to go out and it's probably going to be a combination of a joy fuel meal and I'm going to eat between the twos. And I'm not even thinking that clearly when I say it to you. I just know that I'm going to eat and I'm going to stay within my hunger scale and I'm going to do it respectfully. But I think with her, she takes it even a little bit further is that it's going to be healthy because that's what she wants, not only for herself, but her family. And I think it always comes down to her too, because I think she really, and she's young. I think when I was her age, she's like 40 now, which I can't even believe my son is almost that age. Don't get me going on how old they are. But 40, you could already be thinking as a woman how you don't have time and you can't take care of yourself and we'll just go out and whatever. Not my daughter, Jessica. It's all prepared and thought through. And I said, why do you do all this? And she looks at me and she says, because I feel better when I do. And isn't that the truth? I felt better eating all that great food. Even though she's the one that prepared it and she's the one that thought about it, it really encouraged me to want to do more of that and then realize also how much of it I do. And then it made me realize that I want to inspire you, no matter where you are on your journey, to do the exact same thing, to make you your project. Because she was doing this for her children, don't get me wrong, but she was also doing it because it helped her. It made her feel better. She didn't want to be eating junk all the weekend, and she didn't want to put up with kids that were eating junk all weekend, and she wanted to make sure. So she put a lot of thought. She prioritized herself, number one, and then her children to make sure that they were taken care of. And I benefited from it a lot. And also made me think about how do I do this? How do I take care of myself? How do I prioritize myself? And how can I inspire you to do the same? And I think she said it best when I asked her why she does it. And she said, because I feel better when I do. And I think that means that it ends up to be for pleasure because it is so pleasurable to her to be able to have food that makes her feel good in her body and that she can feed her family. And I have to tell you, boy, I felt so much better the whole weekend eating all this beautiful, healthy food. I loved it. And it inspired me to want to do more of the same when I travel. So, what I want you to think about right now is where are you in the spectrum of prioritizing yourself? Where are you right now? Are you where Jessica is? Are you where I am, where I definitely consider myself a project? I definitely consider prioritizing myself. But probably if I was traveling for 2 or 3 days, I may not do all the things that she did, but I may do it next time because I felt so much better. It actually was a pleasure. Where my brain was thinking it wouldn't be a pleasure to have to think through it, cook it, go through all that. I would rather just go out. Absolutely, that was not the case, as we all kind of pitched in. It wasn't just her, it was all of us. Even though she put a lot of thought and planning into it, we all benefited and we all helped. So, where are you? So, I also want to give you an example. When you think about where are you, I want to give you some examples of what it's like for me when I just go out for the day. And let's just say I'm going out for the day. I want to think through all the things that I may need. It's kind of like when I had a son and he was little. I always had to think through what would he need. But I think when I was thinking about him, I think I was thinking about myself too. So much time has passed, I'm not even sure anymore. But I know that I learned that if I didn't think about myself, about what I needed, my day would not go the way I wanted it. Because I know when I had him, I knew how I wanted the day to go with him for sure. And I wanted to make sure that he was fed. I wanted to make sure that he had rest. And whatever it was I was doing through the day, I considered that. And maybe from that, I learned a little bit more about how to take care of myself. Because now when I go out, and I want to think about when you go out for the day, do you think about what you're going to need for the whole day? For instance, I'm going out, I know I'm going to need water, so I got to fill up my water and I got to get it all ready. And then I think, well, you know what? I might get hungry and I may not have anything that I can eat. So I have to think of healthy snacks that I could have around in case I get hungry that would benefit me. And then I think, well, I better bring my walking shoes and my socks, and I love to bring my walking sticks. So I want to have that on hand. So I want to make sure that's in my car ready to go. And then I think, oh my gosh, I'm going to need sunscreen because if I go for a walk, I'm going to need sunscreen. And I'm just thinking about all the things I'm going to need for the day. And honestly, this takes time and effort. And I realize that I believe for myself that I'm important enough that I get it ready because I sometimes take a big sigh and go, gee, I could just say, forget it. You're just not doing it or you're just going to not use it. But I don't. I consider myself a priority and I consider myself a project. So I take the time, I've taught myself to take the time to make sure I get the things that I need for my day, just like I did for my son, just like Jessica did for the weekend. And I want you to think about yourself in your day or when you're traveling. Do you really consider all the things that you might need? You, not your children, not your husband, not your partner, not anybody else that you're going with, but you. Or, for instance, if you're getting ready to entertain people or you're going out socially, do you think about what you're going to need in order for it to be a pleasurable experience for you? Because overeating and eating too many joy eats never ends up pleasurable, ever. And it's just a perfect example of when I was traveling with Jessica is that I could have ended up eating more joy eats had it not been for all her planning. I felt so much better not doing it and reminded me that I want to do more of it. What about you? How can you make yourself more of a priority no matter what is in store for you in any given day? Do you really think about yourself as much as you would think about somebody else? Now, if you've never done this before and I'm talking to you and going, and this sounds very foreign to you, then you start small. You start with little things like maybe for you, the only thing you're going to do is go, well, I know I'm going to need to drink water. So you just make sure you have beautiful, clean water to bring with you as a start. Or maybe you're more far along and you're used to taking care of yourself a little, but you still think it's a lot of work. You start changing your thinking about just like, is it really a lot of work or is there a lot of benefit in doing it? Does the work make it worthwhile? Now, I will tell you, after that weekend, now I know she did most of the work, but I would do it. I would do what she did because I benefited so much and it was such a pleasurable experience for me to have that now I would do it. Would you? After I'm talking to you, can I inspire you the way Jessica inspired me? What would your day look like if you started thinking about yourself first, wherever it is you're going or whatever it is you're doing? Or if you're traveling this summer, can you think about yourself as a priority in terms of what you're going to need in order to make it a more pleasurable experience? I also want to tell you this because this is another thing I've learned from Jessica when I travel with her. She makes sure she knows where all the grocery stores are, and it is not beyond her to make sure that food is ordered and delivered by the time she gets someplace. I am telling you, I would like to do a podcast with her so you can hear the way she thinks because I'm learning from her all the time. And also, I want to say this about children. It's very, very interesting as a mother with a son. Now, I will tell you, my son was not as concerned about prioritizing himself in terms of eating good food and making sure that what he did was healthy, not near as much as Jessica did. But when my son was growing up, I was really concerned about making sure that he was eating healthy and doing all the right things. Not as much as I think he did. And yet, when it came to him picking out a partner, I find it fascinating that he picked somebody that prioritized health so much. I never thought that he did as much, but boy, you raise those children and then you go out and you see what they do in the world. And then you see yourself and what you taught your children, you see it come out. This is a really fun time. I got to tell you, when you see that some of the things that you did turned out really right, not only for you, but for your children, it's a beautiful experience. And I really believe that he would eat as healthy all the time as he does now. And of course, he was younger and all of that. But you just never know how far what you do is going to go with your children. And also, you never know how far what you do, how far it will go with yourself. So I think now, this summer, why don't you make you your project? You've probably made a lot of other people your projects and a lot of other things your home your project. What if this is the summer that you make you your project and you start thinking ahead every day when you begin your day and you walk out that door, that you think to yourself, what do I need today in order to feel good for my day? What do I need to eat? What do I need to do? How can I take better care of myself? Those are wonderful questions to ask yourself. And the more you create a pleasurable experience out of it, the more your brain will ask you to do more of it. Okay, that is what I have for you today. How to take better care of you by making you your project, not somebody else, you, and believing that you are worth it. Because I got news for you. There's nobody else coming around that's going to do it for you. Nobody. It's you or nobody. So make this the summer of you. Make you your project and start thinking thoughts that get you excited and inspired to do it. Start small and you can get bigger. Wherever you are, add something that will help make taking care of you more pleasurable and feel better to you. And of course, you know I'm never going to end this podcast without saying to you, now that you're taking better care of yourself and you're prioritizing yourself, it's only going to come from a place of joy and compassion. So please, 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 wherever you go, whoever you're with, whatever you do, please, please, please be very, very kind to yourself. And I will see you next week. Bye-bye. If you're loving my podcast and you would like some more information to be able to follow along with, then please go to drdebbutler.com/change and you can get a free copy of my companion book that goes with this podcast that I refer to in many different episodes. That is drdebbutler.com/change. CHANGE.